Beauty without displays the ugly within. Our family trip to Italy was never short of undeniable beauty. Through the 15 cities we visited in Italy, even the most unassuming churches revealed intricate detail and magnificence. The sublime aesthetic and precise design of the Florence Duomo was almost too unbelievable to take in. Construction took over 140 years and spanned 5 architects, a level of commitment not common to modern men and women. I could feel the depth of inspiration and commitment as I waited in line to climb Giotto's tower. St. Peter's Basilica is the pinnacle of beauty, standing out foremost among other sites throughout Rome. A daring statement to make. I was struck with the solution that my creative work needed to be guided by the beauty and meaning that I witnessed in these cathedrals. I've been grappling with this idea before we left for our 2-week trip to Italy. The standard 9 to 5 employee model was never appealing and certainly not a permanent solution. I found myself in one, though, and I'm making the most of it. I studied accounting at university for practical reasons, primarily financial stability. I achieved the last remnant of this pursuit by acquiring my CPA in June of 2021. Since then, I had been pursuing the professional and creative journey that awaited me on the other end. From June 2021 to June 2023, everything about my creative endeavors was about growth hacking, being fast-paced and hyper-rational, following social media guru insights, continually optimizing and posting rigorously often while still being honest. I figured this was the most reasonable route to self-employment. The trip to Italy transformed my outlook on my work and my approach to life in general. The sheer amount of effort and collective life commitment that people imbued into creating these stunning cathedrals influenced me profoundly. Beauty is a mirror from which your imperfections are made clear to you. This idea is brilliantly explored in Lex Fridman's opening question in his interview with Jordan Peterson. The most beautiful things tend to be reflective, which was the case for me during and after my return from Italy. I was confronted by my imperfections and was inspired by what I saw. The question rattled within me. How can I structure my pursuit to embed an awe-inspiring grandeur and meaning pertinent to these beautiful cathedrals in my creative work? I want to relay my findings to this question and jointly explore where a modern society needs more of this beauty in our digital spaces. Building my cathedral. My sister, who had been to Italy before, relayed helpful information to us for the next day. We must get to St. Peter's Basilica early if we don't want to wait in line all day. We arrived at St. Peter's Square around 7:30 a.m. As we gathered in line, I noticed a mother and daughter anxiously waiting for someone. Frequently checking over her shoulder, the mother clutched at her rosary, speaking Spanish to her daughter in a worrisome tone. The mother let us go ahead of her as we arrived at the security checkpoint, mentioning that she was waiting on her 2 sons, who came shortly after that. As we made our way up to the basilica doors, I peeked over my shoulder to see the mother ripping her 2 sons a new one, who both held their heads in shame. I continued forward, and no amount of pictures or words could prepare me for what was inside. I was immediately stunned by the cathedral's beauty as my eyes met the wonders that lay within. I felt a sense of safety, as if I could sit in the cathedral and spend an eternity in meditation. I strolled through, relishing in the splendor, and made my way around to a statue near the entrance. This statue is Michelangelo's Madonna della Pieta. In my line of view of the statue were 3 people, the mother and her 2 sons. Interestingly, she was wailing. It looked to me like she was releasing a deep cry, and her 2 disheveled sons comforted her in confusion. I had some vague insight into why it might be the case that she erupted into tears in the statue. I was reminded of a Jordan Peterson Psychological Significance of the Bible lecture series. In it, he made the case that this statue, the Pieta, is a phenomenal representation of the archetypal great mother and the most brutal sacrifice they must make, offer their kids up to the world. In all its destruction, horror, and malevolence, the world is a fearful place for a mother to uncloak her children and let them engage in the adventure of their lives. Hence, Freud's identification of the archetypal mother complex. I don't know if this was the case for this mother. Still, I thought I saw an unbelievably deep work of art speaking to her and communicating an eternal message. My brief observation of her and her sons indicated there might be truth to this. Art that is beautiful enough to bring us to tears communicates to some part of us we don't quite fully grasp, but it seems to be attempting to help us transcend. Through reading Carl Jung, I've started learning about the importance, depth, and significance of one of the ways great art communicates, through symbols. Symbols are not consciously deliberated artistic creations. Rather, they are something of human nature, manifested of their own accord and communicated to us through our unconscious form of dreams. These parts of us are so deeply rooted that laying our eyes upon an archetypal, symbolic statue is enough to evoke tears and an eternal plea for reflection. Our unconscious minds have a collective nature that communicates messages that we need to consume, and the conduits of these messages are the most creative humans. Walking through the cathedrals of Italy and my newfound knowledge of deep imagery, statues such as the Pieta communicated a message to me that struck with a necessary piece of inspiration. No matter how long it took, no matter how much suffering was required, no matter how close it brought me to death, I needed to create something deeply human, something that resonates on a fundamental level and speaks to the core of our shared experience, and meaningful enough that people are willing to make pilgrimage, digital and physical, to engage with the beauty I put into the world now and forever. I want people to come to my creations as they came to the cathedrals, seeking knowledge, beauty, connectedness, and meaning. The most beautiful things are beautiful down to the most minor constituent parts, and my life journey had taught me that the need to pivot into making meaningful written and spoken creations at this level. If even one person reads or listens to my work and walks away with a sense of inspiration, I'm moving in the right direction. When I started this piece, I researched what we would say our modern cathedrals are. The best exploration I could find of this was by Tom Hoyo, Cathedrals of the 21st Century, who brilliantly lays out the cathedrals of the past and present, from pyramids to churches to skyscrapers to trading floors to airports and nightclubs. One critical modern cathedral is not well explored: the ones that exist in the digital space, or more precisely, need to increasingly exist in the digital space. I'm not saying that the digital spaces we inhabit must bring us to tears and mimic the beauty of one of the greatest sculptors of all time. But where is the beauty that communicates to the deepest parts of humanity, like this mother had been communicated to in the cathedral? Where is digital beauty? Fits the modern cathedral. Frederick, on The Age of Alchemy, highlights something fundamentally true about the digital sphere of existence in his piece, How the Search for Secular Cathedrals is Emptying Our Wallets Without Filling Our Hearts. He writes, in this new book about the impact of smartphones on social media, The Anxious Generation, Jonathan Haidt outlined 6 universal spiritual practices, namely shared sacredness, embodiment, stillness, silence, and focus, self-transcendence, being slow to anger, quick to forgive, and finding awe in nature. These spiritual practices are the opposite in almost every respect of life in the digital realm, which is disembodied, asynchronous, shallow, and solitary. We've previously explored that social media is causing not only a mental health crisis flagged by Jonathan Haidt, but also a less discussed creator's loss of self. The problem is that creators modify art, words, and behavior for an algorithm to receive a desirable outcome, changing the creators themselves to be slaves to the algorithm rather than arbiters of their internal beauty. Our new world contains modern cathedrals, yet the places we spend the most time, our digital world, do not possess the significant elements of a cathedral. Our digital realm is due for an overhaul. We forget that software is an extraordinarily new phenomenon relative to the human experience, and it's more likely that the original pioneers didn't hit the nail on the head on the beauty front. True that the free markets will fulfill people's needs, but unfortunately, people fall in love with life-debilitating drugs and have a hard time fleeing before it's too late, an effect all too akin to the social media platforms. That statement is a bit facetious. I want to be clear that I love our current social networks, such as YouTube, Substack, Twitter, and the like. In seconds, I can connect with some of the most brilliant and authentic minds on the planet. I do think that using these platforms can actually help build a new paradigm of the internet, which I'll be talking about in an upcoming piece. So if you want to hear that, then subscribe here and subscribe over on Substack in the link in the description. However, I do think we have moved in the wrong direction. Software cathedrals will likely need an underlying infrastructure, method, and process to exist first. As Packy explored in Make the Internet Fun Again, the internet feels broken, permeated by slop, mediocrity, and pursuit of metrics. His suggestion is that what comes next will start by looking like a toy, as Chris Dixon lays out. He highlights the creation of websites and 3D worlds that are so fun that they don't need to be SEO optimized, but rather people will seek them out. OnCyber was highlighted as an infrastructure provider for these websites. It is actually pretty cool if you look at the websites they spun up for Not Boring, which will be in the link in the description below. It was a similar copy of the famous Nintendo Family Office website, which I highly recommend you check out. It's a very interesting website. There's nothing like it that I've seen before. I think making the internet fun is a good solution. Making it fun and beautiful is a great one. While the potential of digital cathedrals is vast, it's essential to recognize the challenges in redefining spaces that have become so deeply ingrained in our daily lives. Yet, it's in addressing these very challenges that the most meaningful transformations occur. How might one build their own digital cathedral? For starters, we can approach the internet with the first principles view and start by asking ourselves better questions. We should start at the top level with companies with more noble aims over profitability while still producing profits, and retool the algorithms to favor beauty and authenticity in creation. Creators must not bend themselves for the algorithm and rather stick to the true intention of their creations. I think practical tools like OnCyber provide infrastructure for builders, and social media like Cosmos are good sources of inspiration in areas where people are trying to ideate what this future of internet might look like. Upon entering some of these URLs, I hope to be awestruck and stay around because I feel some of the 6 universal spiritual practices, not because because I can't control myself and am addicted to the next post or video in my never-ending feed. 2 weeks in Italy and many cathedrals later, I was stunned by what I saw. This inspiration served as a perfect complement to the struggles I had been pondering. In real time, I believe I saw an eternal message communicated through beautiful art, evoking a deep emotional response. I can't help but think we need to see these things to retain our humanity, and where better than in our digital spaces. I love spending time in digital spaces and interacting with technology, which I think is a beautiful feat of mankind. But in the same way I didn't want to leave St. Peter's Basilica, I hope that we can create an improved era of digital creation where I don't want to leave because of the beauty and not because I'm on a heroin drip from the moment I enter to the second I leave. While I've noted on cyber and the social media cosmos and linked some more examples in the description below, this is only beginning to take shape. As uncovered by popular business thinkers, new paradigms usually start by looking like a toy. What might look like a toy now can become the next digital paradigm. And if you made it to the end of this video, I hope I managed to embed a level of beauty and meaning that made sticking around to the end worthwhile. And if so, then please like the video, subscribe here on YouTube for more, and hit the notification bell so that you can be updated when videos do drop. And if you want to get these pieces and these creations ahead of time, I release them on my Substack for free ahead of time. So check out the link in the description to my Substack where you can get these essays in your inbox by subscribing. It's completely free. Until next time, take care of yourself, everyone. Thank you.